Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dragon's Library. So today, we are going to be reviewing Scream 6. I know this movie came out a while ago in March, but I just got around to watching it on Paramount Plus. It is literally the only reason I will probably ever use Paramount Plus. I used the free trial and that was it. They literally said, "Oh, are you interested in any of these things?" I'm like, nope, 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 nope. There's just not really anything I'm interested in there. But I was interested enough to seek it out to watch this. So let's get into it. Now, Scream 6 is a part of the Scream franchise, and I know this movie series has a sort of reputation of being kind of bad, but I have always enjoyed them. I'm not sure if that says something about me, but I do actually enjoy the Scream movies. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I've always enjoyed the way they parody horror movies and the ridiculous ways that horror movie sequels progress. And this one is either slightly above or slightly below average, depending on what happens next. And I will get into that near the end of this review, but keep that in mind that this is a movie that I will look back on this review very differently depending on what happens in the future. So, after Scream 5, the new requel characters have gone into hiding. They are sick of Woodsboro and have decided to go to New York, which is likely some form of parody on the whole Jason Takes Manhattan and the escalation of movie franchises, aka Jurassic Park 3. Now, after the last Ghostface killings, the current, cast, Sam and Tara, are kind of just sick of this whole thing. Sam has been reduced to kind of being a paranoid, rightfully so paranoid, I feel like, a bit of a nutcase. Now, granted, she's been involved in a Scream murder, so obviously there has to be a sequel to the requel. Ghostface shows back up again, starts killing people, and it's time to do another one of these. This time with the idea that anyone can die, because after the requel, it's hands off and the franchise will continue no matter who dies forever. So yeah, this is a commentary on the way that film franchises nowadays, after being revived, are expected to just keep going and going and going and going until they stop making money. Which means the entire point of this movie, i.e. whether it can actually become a commentary on what it's critiquing, is do they make a Scream 7? Because if they make a Scream 7, this movie is kind of just like insulting itself, which I know the Scream movies have always kind of done, but it feels a bit more deliberate when you're actively mocking other movies for doing this, and then your very franchise ends up doing it. So we'll have to see on that. Now, I don't really care about these characters per se. Honestly, the Scream movies are kind of just a way to see the slasher parody. They're a place for both slasher horror and also kind of funny gags occasionally, like the "he's right behind you" thing in the first movie. One of the things I do enjoy, though, is their critique of horror movies as a whole. I think the Scream series just gets a lot of crap for being, what most people consider a bad form of parody, but I actually do like Scream movie as a parody. I think it's better than even credit for. Don't get me wrong, it's no Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is probably the best critique of horror movies another horror movie has ever made, and that movie is amazing. If you have not seen Cabin in the Woods, go watch Cabin in the Woods. I'm not going to tell everybody to go watch Scream 6, because, I took like a month and a half to get around to watching it, so obviously it's not a masterpiece. But it is decent. One of the interesting things about this is it has both the largest and smallest body count of all the Scream movies, which I find hilarious. I'm not going to spoil what I mean, but there are a lot of murders. It's just that none of those murders actually matter. I'm not going to say any more than that because I can't really say much, because the whole thing about Scream movies is they're kind of like the inevitable plot twist of who's behind the mask, who's Ghostface. And I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, which means I'm going to have to be very vague here as a whole. I do like the new setting of Manhattan. I think it's interesting. It adds a lot more people around, so they have to get more creative with locations. They can't just have a house in the middle of nowhere. And in addition to that, I also enjoy the idea of it parodying the ridiculous escalation of settings in the sense of, the Jason movies eventually going to space or to Manhattan, and things like Jurassic Park 3 where they had the T-Rex in New York City. That was all very good, and I think it's a good parody of what it sets out to do. It talks about how movies, as they go on and on, keep having to up the ante. So now there's going to be decapitations, despite the fact that nobody actually gets decapitated. Well, I guess there is that one, but like he might have gotten murdered beforehand. He was stuffed in a fridge. That was fridging, which is a whole other form of escalation in order to kill off minor characters in order to get shock value, as seen in the Green Lantern comics with Kyle Rayner. So again, it's a good parody of escalation in media. I like that for shock value. It's well thought out if you actually look through the things it's referencing. Which is why I like the Scream movies. There's a lot of subtle things like that where it's not just saying, look at this and laugh. It's saying, hey, this is what movies do. And then kind of doing all those things at once to give you a good look at it. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't like masterful writing or anything like that. This is a schlocky slasher movie. And I'm going to be grading it as a schlocky slasher movie. An 8 for a Scream movie, an 8 or a 9 or a 10 or anything like that for a Scream movie is not the same as an 8 or a 9 or a 4 or anything like that for, say, a DreamWorks or a Pixar movie. Just like those movie grades shouldn't be directly compared to things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or a Korean drama. I tend to judge things based upon what they're trying to achieve, in this case being a parody slasher movie. And I think it mostly succeeds, with the caveat that they do not make a sequel. Because if they make a sequel, then the whole thing of these things never end, there's never going to be any closure, which I actually think they kind of gave the main character a bit of closure. She kind of got over her endless paranoia of just expecting the worst forever and walked away. And I feel like that's where this movie series needs to end. It has critiqued basically every aspect of the current movie landscape, especially when it comes to horror movies dating all the way back to that first Scream movie. I feel like there has been enough ground explored that at this point, continuing onwards is ill-advised, because the Scream movies are only actually good when they have something to critique. That's why I find that the fourth Scream movie is kind of the worst one, because it was critiquing social media influencer kind of thing, but it didn't really feel like the Scream movie franchise. The franchise of Scream movies always critiqued specifically film and particularly horror filmmaking. As a result, I think Scream 4 is easily the weakest, if not the worst one. But I feel like the others are good fun. So, in conclusion, this review is a little short, but I don't want to really spoil because half the fun Scream movies just figuring out what the ridiculous twist is. I enjoyed Scream 6. It wasn't amazing or anything like that, but it was a lot of fun. I sat down, got some popcorn, watched it on my, my TV, and it was just like, yeah, I enjoyed this. It was the only thing I felt like worth subscribing to Paramount Plus for, so it was definitely worth my time. And in general, I think you can have a fun time with most of the Scream movies. I think I'm still partial to 1, and I did enjoy 2 as well. But as a whole, this movie is just okay. So I think I'm going to give this a dual grade. This movie gets either a 6 or an 8 out of 10, depending on what happens in the future. Until they make a Scream 7, which I hope will never happen, this movie will have an 8 out of 10. So long as there is no Scream 7, this gets an 8 out of 10. However, the moment Scream 7 is officially released in theaters, or a trailer gets dropped for it, and it is definitely going to come out, this gets downgraded to a 6. Because whether or not it's willing to be a bookend to the series, I feel like affects its ability to properly critique series going on and on and on forever. Unfortunately, this thing made a bunch of money, so, that's not great. With all that said and done, let's move on to the announcements. So, I am currently playing through Breath of the Wild. I'm also playing through Jedi Survivor in my free time, both of those. So, look forward to a review for either of those sometime in the future. I'm going to be still streaming not Jedi Survivor, Tears of the Kingdom this Tuesday and Thursday, so look forward to that. I've actually been getting a little further in that game. In addition, I am going to go see the new Spider-Verse movie this Thursday. I'm really excited about it. I am so eager to go see this movie, so looking forward to that. Finally, moving on from there, I am looking into a few books. I've been reading some stuff, but I don't have anything definitive lined up for a next review. I think I'm probably going to have my next review come out on Thursday or Friday. I know I've been a bit slower on the uploads, but I've just been going through a bit of a dry spell and looking for things to really go into. And most of the stuff I want to review right now are things like books and video games, which I need to take a bit more time to sit down. Movies and TV shows are a bit more compact and they take less hours of my time, so I can look through the story much quicker and I can, write up a review much quicker and get my thoughts in order. So right at the moment where I only have like a few books and 2 video games as potential reviews, I can't really just run through them and immediately give you guys something. So look forward to that Spider-Verse review sometime, likely on Friday. So yeah. Moving on from there, we have our end card. Click on the subscribe orb to go to my channel and subscribe. We have a playlist of all the stuff I've done this year and also a video YouTube recommends. Check those out. And if you're looking for something to do, check me out on Tuesday or Thursday at 7:30 p.m. when I'll be streaming. See you guys next time. Bye.